All right, we're getting closer to the draft. We had a crazy press conference. And the more I think about it, the more whacked and wild it was. I had two really good comments that were based out of the press conference of Chris Grier that I want to go over. I love my comments. I learn so much from them. That's why I read them, try to answer as many as I can. But these two comments were great comments. One sent me down a rabbit hole to try to confirm things I had talked about. One, Chris Grier mentioned every GM misses. It's true, but at what rate? That's the key. Every GM misses, but at what rate? Not even so much the choices, but if you're making choices, maybe that's not the best choices of particular position groups, you want to hit on the players that you draft. So I broke down round by round. I'm going to go over with some graphics, the exact hit rate, little flexibility depending on your flavor that Chris Grier hit at to kind of flesh out that every GM misses. And then the second comment was from a guy, Kazel Cage. And I didn't even think about what he had said. And it says something about my mindset, but also about Chris Grier's. Two great comments. So the main the main crux of his comment was, why wasn't Tua mentioned? And why didn't I think of that? And so I'm going to dig into his comment after I break down Grier's, as you might already know, not stellar record in the draft. Now, the thing is, we have to be clear because there will be a lot of narrative and media massaging, and we just have to know about the past and be clear on it so we can actually evaluate Grier right. And when you see these numbers, it's going to be hard to defend him. Now, I'm going to go back and look at some of the best. I'll take the best team, which is the Eagles, and a mid-road team, and look at their hit rates and then eventually compare it to this. So, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, the comments, and the views. That's what keeps me in the business. If you like what I'm doing here, it's the only way I'm going to stay. So, please, if you haven't subbed, please sub. If you like it, don't forget to hit the like button. And please put your comments because it helps me learn so much, and it's my favorite part of the gig. So, you can see right here, I'll go to all 7 rounds. I'm not going to go from 2016 because it would be worse. We'll stick with 2019 because some people will say crazy-eyed Gase and Tannenbaum interfered. Maybe, but we'll stick with from 2019 to 2024. Of course, the hope is 25 is totally different, and it better be. So you can see round 1, over these 6 years, we had 9 first-round draft picks with 4 hits. Now, Wilkins was a clear hit. I put a red under him because he's not with us. And you'll be surprised at how many hits are no longer with us. Chop. Now, Chop could be a hit. But I see people saying, well, Campbell only had 616 snaps. Why bring him back? Well, Chop had 565, 344 in pass rush, 170 in run stop. Phenomenal in the pass rush. Clearly. But in order to be a hit in that first round, he needs to improve his run game. And he was pulled out of rundowns and didn't perform well there and had lots of missed tackles. And so if he's going to be a hit, then he's got to increase that. And I think he will. I think he's kind of got a similar trajectory of Melvin Ingram, who we had here. He kind of started out in the same vein and became a very good player. I think he'll be a hit, but it's going to be all about that run game. Then, if you look at Tua, some people will say Tua's a hit. Some people say he won't. I think the injury history clearly points to that's not the best. Even if you really like the kid, it's not the best pick at number 5. But we'll put that there. And then Waddle, he hit on Waddle, but it was 2 firsts. So when you pull it all together, however you want to look at it, if all 4 of those guys are on your list as hits, that's 44%. I don't consider Hill a hit because you got 2 years out of him and you spent a huge basket of picks to get him, and it lowers the value. And obviously it wasn't a draft pick. So he utilized that on a player that at this point now we could say, well, he was really good for 2 years, but was it worth it? I mean, a first round pick, you hit on it, that could be a guy there for 10 years. So you either got 44%, or if you don't like Chop or Hill, it's 33%. And if you don't like Chop and Chop and Tua, I should say, if you don't like Chop and Tua together, that's only 22%. But even if you take it the highest value, 44%, the average hit rate in the NFL in the first round is supposed to be 75%. That's a huge, that's way below what it's expected, especially if you go down to 22 or 33. Second round, we had 8 second-round picks. We only have 1 hit. Now, Paul might make it 2, but if you put Paul and Hunt there, Hunt was a clear hit, but he's gone. That's only 25%. And one of those second-round picks obviously went to Hill, so he utilized that. So if you want to take it down to 7, maybe you bump it up to 35 if Paul hits. That is well below. The second round is around 50% expected hit rate. Third round, 9 third-round picks with 2 hits. Brandon Jones, if you want to say, although his time here wasn't so hot, eventually he was a little bit of a late bloomer, injuries and such, but he's not even here either. And Achane, that's 22%. And Ramsey, as we know now, isn't considered a hit. But still, even if you take it down to only 8 picks, you want to pull Ramsey out, the official drafting, that's 25%, or about 12.5% if you don't consider Jones. This is abysmally low. I think the third-round picks around 35 to 40% hit rate. So you're looking at 33% less than what's expected if both these guys are there. Fourth round, 9 fourth-round picks, 1 hit. And we might say, right, I think he is, but we got to see. He didn't get used last year. So we'll see if that plays out. But and he was doubled up. We used extra picks on him again to get a guy right. That's 11% with right. And if he doesn't pan out, it's 0. Fifth round, we had 6 fifth-round picks with 1 hit. There might be a little fifth round here or there because we expended some in all these little trades and wasted a lot of stuff. So don't take this as the exact. But you got Van Ginkel, great hit. But that's 16%, and he's gone too. Sixth round, 6 six-round picks, 3 hits. Not bad, pretty good, actually exceptional in the 6th round. You consider Washington, Higgins, but again, we played cutesy like Grier likes to do, and now he's on the Rams roster. And then Ferguson, he's a special team, a long snapper. So it does mitigate this hit. Washington was a very nice one, 50% above, but one's a special team that just snaps the football, which is important, and one guy's gone. And then you go to the 7th round, it's 9 7th-round picks, 0 hits. We haven't got anything out of 7th round picks. 0%. And when you look at all these hits, you got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And 5 of them are no longer on the roster. So it was bad in the sense of the draft hit rate, but then it's even worse in your team building design to not keep the guys you hit on. Look at all these picks. This is almost unprecedented amount of draft capital. And I'm not including the 1st and the 3rd we lost for Ross. So when you go look at what Grier has done, this is the bottom of the barrel for GMing and finding talent. No team. This is why we went from the youngest in 2021 to the oldest in 24. You cannot expect, and then you add in Chubb was a miss. Ramsey was a miss. Hill was a miss. And, talk about Kinley, 2 fourth rounds. Rose in the 2nd round. Dieter, a 3rd round. Eichenberg, a 2nd and 3rd round. This is as bad as it gets, and is really very hard for people to say it's not terrible. This is numbers. And so we've got to be clear. Every GM misses, but Grier has been special in the wrong way. So here's the the comment, Kazel Cage. And yeah, the press conference was a train wreck. The worst moment for me was when he was asked about leadership. He got Sealer, and then he said, to name a few, LOL, like, bro, that's one. And then he says Hill is a leader and not Tua. It seems like he was struggling to remember anyone on the team for a minute. I was thinking like Brooks. I was thinking, I don't know. It's hard to find them. Maybe Brewer or something. I didn't even think about Tua not being on that list. And when he said, well, when he was asked, why didn't you extend money, push money forward by giving Tua more guaranteed money? And he says, oh, we felt good about our trenches. But he couldn't even name Tua as the leader. Now, I didn't think about that. What does that say? It doesn't mean Tua's not a leader, but clearly he does not even think Tua's a leader, and he struggles to name guys. That's bad from a optic standpoint. You're the GM. This is your team. You live with this team. You expended huge amounts of draft asset and money on Tua, extended him last season, and he's not even on the list. He named Waddle and Ingold and Austin Jackson, which was like digging at the very bottom of the barrel here. And so what does that say about what he really thinks about Tua? And for me, I got to ask myself, why don't I think about that? And maybe there's something there that Tua is not the leader he needs to be. I'm not saying he's not, but it's bizarre that the GM didn't think so. It's bizarre that I didn't even think it. And it took Kazel Cage to remind me. And so we're in I did the video on the press conference and I called Strange Days. I don't think I've ever seen a GM come out like this and just be so frazzled and unable to really articulate what he's got here. And so this was very bizarre. And so that's it. Very strange. Very strange. I think clearly this is saying that some at the top, they don't view Tua as the guy they invested in. There's some buyer's remorse. Whether that's true or not, we'll see. Tua's got to stay healthy this year. But we have very poor ability to acquire talent. We have a GM who's just really kind of losing it and isn't able to find the talent and defers to other people for the reasons why things failed. So this is a very bad moment, guys. We got to hope again. And some people say it's hopium, and it's fair. I tell people their views of hopium. People saying it's hopium for me to believe that Chris Grier is on the way out and other people are taking over. And some part of me is saying maybe I am being full of hopium. But this draft, how we draft, the way we go about it, the talent we acquire is going to tell whether this guy's still in charge or not. Let's just hope he's not, because that hit rate it's sad. So let's hope we get better days. Hopefully it's not strange days, but happy days. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Most of you people don't even know Happy Days, the TV show. I don't know. I keep some of my little metaphors I think are outdated. So anyway, guys, that's it. Grier sucks in so many ways, but you can't refute those numbers. They're atrocious. Let's hope that Tua steps up. Let's hope we do something spectacular in his draft. Curtis saying, be well, go Fins. Curtis out. Start building your own online sportsbook today by getting signed up with aceperhead.com service that'll allow you to book action on sports from all around the world.